Can anyone help me understand the gray area? Articles that I have read online vary.
So gray area, I assume we're talking about CAG repeat testing. And so just to clarify in terms of what we're talking about in terms of numbers, when people have up to 26 copies. So there's a large gene that genes are just the blueprints for proteins. And one section of that gene repeats under normal circumstances. When there are too many copies of that, people develop Huntington's disease. So it's not just a yes, no, there's a spectrum. And if people have up to 26 copies of the CAG on that gene, that's considered normal. And if you have 40 or more, as far as we know, that person will 100% go on to develop Huntington's disease. So that leaves this range of 27 to 39 repeats. And this is where it can get very complex very quickly. And so if we're talking about almost 40, so in the 36 to 39, that's considered the incomplete penetrant range. So penetrance is how likely is it that that gene is going to be expressed in the person? And so it doesn't always express in that range. And so that's one gray area. Basically, if you live long enough, it's likely that you will develop symptoms because the higher the number of copies, the earlier the age at onset. In general, it's not specific, but that it gives you an idea. And so then there's this true kind of range, 27 to 35, that's called the mutable or unstable range. And that, generally speaking, people do not get symptoms of Huntington's disease if you have those numbers of copies, but the next generation, it may expand and increase the number of copies, and the next generation may be at risk of developing Huntington's disease. And so the gray area really is talking about those two specific regions. One is incomplete penetrance, the other is that mutable range.
And this is where your HD genetic counselor, like Dr. Frank was talking earlier, is going to be very, very, very helpful because they can help you look at the research that you are reading and confused by and help you discern what applies to you and what does not.